And so what's going to happen next? What are your predictions? And then we can get into kind of the larger question of what is to be done, both in terms of this particular nomination, but also, okay, so there's a problem with the way this country is run and with the Supreme Court. So now what?
Well, so in the short term,
a lot on your, not to
put too much pressure on you. I really do want to get to those larger issues, because that's what I'm actually, thinking about. I mean, in the short term, there are two separate questions. What does Donald Trump do, and what does Mitch McConnell do? And the second question also depends on, really, I suppose, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski and Mitt Romney. So to start with Donald Trump, I think that this is, in a way, salvation for him. Anyone who's still paying attention to the pandemic is in a new space. Those who are politically active certainly will be on the edge of their seats for this one, on left and right. And, Donald Trump will probably nominate someone, but may, profit from not seeing that person, confirmed immediately, and making it an issue on which he can say the election should turn. And that will have, incalculable impact on, people on the right. Now, Biden is so far to the right himself that it's not, clear that it will really motivate that many people, but there may be some who really care so much about having this sixth reactionary vote on the court now that they're mobilized. It's possible that Trump will, I think stupidly try to collude with McConnell to get the vote to happen before the election. And that will be very difficult to achieve. It depends on whether McConnell wants to do that. And I've been having disputes with friends online about this in the last couple of hours. If McConnell cares principally about his own power, then he cares less about the Supreme Court than losing the Senate. He doesn't care as much about losing the presidency, but losing the Senate means the loss of his own power, could mean the loss of his own seat, although that's unlikely. But if he cares, about long-term power, he's going to wait. If, on the other hand, he cares about the Supreme Court, which it seems like he does, and he recognizes that the Republicans are about to start losing a lot of elections, and this is a golden moment to lock in generational control over the Supreme Court in a way that will be very hard for the Democrats to erode, then this is an extraordinary stroke of luck for McConnell. And more than that, he's talked about it in those terms, that if there's a vacancy, even in October, he would act. Now, we've seen statements. I mean, strangely, there was a statement from Trump before Trump actually knew that she had died, to the effect that he will nominate someone. And McConnell also put out a public statement that he will see that nominee through to a vote, not exactly clearly by November 3rd, but certainly by January 20th. So it's a fascinating, moment to see what those two will do. And I suppose McConnell's calculus, as I said, will depend, on these three, senators who he can't perfectly control. Susan Collins has been pretty compliant. She voted for Brett Kavanaugh. She didn't vote for impeachment. Right. On the other hand, she was burned badly. She's got a fight in Maine, et cetera. The other two, Murkowski and Romney, have both said that they don't think that a justice should be replaced, either in general in the last year of a presidential term, or in this case. So, did they stick to their principles, or did they, take a deal? Did they decide that actually this is an extraordinary opportunity for the right? I guess time will tell.
Yeah, there are probably some resistance types, right, who think that who are hoping that they'll take this as an opportunity, not for the right, but for kind of the, like, I don't know, the sake of the republic or something.
Sure. No, it'll be represented that way. If,
Yeah.
Romney has become, obviously a hero even amongst liberals.
Yeah.
For, staring reality in the face.
Yeah.
Not hard. And, Murkowski is, an interesting figure because she doesn't seem as compliant as Collins. On the other hand, all of these people have, voted for, economic neoliberalism and endless war for decades. So,
Right.
we're talking about people who it's like, shades of black. But that matters. That could matter in this
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
There's some speculation that the smartest thing to do would be to use this as an election, theme. And then especially if Trump loses, to push through a nomination in between the election and January 20th. And, especially if the Senate's going to change hands, it's hard to, not to see that happening. Those three as senators might keep McConnell from fulfilling his agenda of pushing whoever Trump nominates through. Trump has announced, I think about 40 people on a list. And in fact, he added 20 a few days ago. It could be someone, Senator Ted Cruz is on that list. The folks on that list are mostly your standard Federalist Society right-wingers, some more dodgy than that.
And who do you think the scariest potential picks by Trump are?
The truth is that at least when, he was working with, Don McGahn, he really just deferred to, the Federalist Society, and he's generally done so on judicial appointments, which has meant that, both of his picks, Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, have been, groomed in the typical way. They went to one of two schools. They clerked for the Supreme Court themselves, well-trained and so forth. I believe that it would make sense, especially if the vote is going to be close no matter what, for him to pick someone of that kind. For some of the picks in the lower judiciary, he's nominated people almost, without qualification to be a judge. He won't do that for sure. He wants, this pick to be respected. So I don't think we're talking about crazies, but I do think we're talking about a sixth vote for a lot of nefarious outcomes, no matter what.
There were some interesting, Brian Fredericks, a big...
Amy Coney Barrett will be Trump's choice. That's not implausible. I think she came very close in the prior round. And that often happens, when Ginsburg was nominated, everyone thought it would go to Stephen Breyer, who then got it the next time.
Right.
He had a bad interview with Clinton, and yet he's on the court now. He's himself up there in years.